Hello folks and welcome. So I have a video here that was requested by a subscriber. And this is not everybody's cup of tea, but the subscriber is using fully automated backups. Case in point is a tower computer with 2 hard drives, one used for backups. And he's using a script file to do that with. He's having some issues with it will give him some errors and not back up properly. Also, the second question was why it's creating extra folders, a subfolder. All right, so I'm going to talk about some of those kind of troubleshooting in this video. This again is not everybody's cup of tea, but anyone is welcome to watch. Filming in 1920 by 1080, welcome folks, Linux Mint 21.3, Cinnamon. Icon in the corner if you'd like to subscribe with yellow brackets. So, right-click, System Settings. This is an automated script. Some of you folks are familiar with this if you run servers like cron jobs. This is a home use computer, so Linux Mint uses something very similar. This is like a service. You turn it on and off at leisure. You can also perform it manually. So an example here is I have a drive that is currently empty, which I'm going to perform using this. Okay, and I can perform this manually at any time. And I'll show you how this file is written, but more importantly, I'm going to talk about the importance of auto-mounting drives before you write your script files. And I'll talk about also this creation process. So there's a difference between this drive and this drive. I have 2 internally mounted drives today as an example, and a USB stick. I just tossed that in there just to have some devices in there. I don't think this one has anything, no. But more importantly, this drive here versus this drive is slightly different, and I don't mean capacity either or how it's formatted. It's the way it's mounted. So the demo drive I can actually unmount. The B drive, on the other hand, when I click that, I get an authorization. And the reason for that is because this drive is auto-mounted. It also has a cryptic name at the top, versus this just says demo on it. If you have never dealt with this kind of thing, there's a toggle entry point here, which will explain what the system has for a mount point that says Media Bob Demo. Our user for today is Bob. It's just a made-up name. So the USB stick, if I toggle the entry, will say Media Bob USB stick. When I click on the B drive, on the other hand, you will see MNT on it. So that means this is auto-mounted. So how do you achieve that? Well, first of all, let's talk about the importance of auto-mounting drives if you're going to do automated backups, because that's number 1. So as in this case, walking down using the GNOME disk utility, my first drive is called Demo, filming in 1920 by 1080 if you can't read that. It says Media Bob Demo on it, the name of the drive in other words. It's formatted with NTFS. Not important, but this is not auto-mounted. The second drive is my Linux Mint currently booted in drive with the EFI partition. We're going to skip over that and go to the next drive. The B drive is what you saw in here, this one. It has an MNT on it. That means this is auto-mounted. Now, depending on how you format that, if you can't see that, it says extension 4. Sometimes these numbers are shorter. And also, if you convert this drive from extension 4 to NTFS, this number will change. So just be aware of that when you reformat things if you already have script files written. That could be another reason why his script file doesn't work, because he switched formats. All right, in here, the gear symbol, okay, you can click that and hit Edit Mount Options. That should be off. If it is on, that is not an auto-mounted drive. As a matter of fact, what would happen if this is on? This will not say MNT on it. This would say something like, what's our user today? Bob. This would say something like Media Bob, and the name of this drive is B drive. That's what that would say. So what you need to do is make sure that's off. You want that on, you want this on. So that's a good idea, but at least this one. You hit OK, and then you walk over and you reboot your computer. Once the computer is rebooted, you can either open up the GNOME disk utility, that is your choice, to verify this. It says MNT on it. You can also click this open, and you can actually copy this if you'd like. This is a little cumbersome to do this job, so I'm going to do it this way. Open up your file manager, and in this case we're dealing with script files. So I'm going to open up the script file that runs this show. I'll make it bigger. What I'm going to do is click a line in here. And then I'm going to open up this drive for a second and toggle the entry point and then copy that blue highlighted line so I don't have to type this in. Yes, I'll have to put in another rsync statement and everything else. But more importantly, what I'm trying to show you here is you can copy that so you don't have to hand type this stuff in. What's the probability of me making an error if I hand type this? Probably really high. I'll skip a space, I'll transpose a letter, I'll miss a letter. There's a high probability of an error. My suggestion to you, if you already have an existing script file, is you can always highlight that and replace it with this highlighted line. I'll give you another example of that using a different script file. I'm going to say no to the save. So in here we have 3 examples. I have the doc backup, which is just a very simple script file. I'll actually run that for you too, if you like. And then I have this one. All right, so let me switch to this one for a second. Let's say I wanted to edit this one. This one here is geared to making a test folder on demo. Demo already has files in it. So basically, if I wanted to replace this part here, I could grab a hold of the drive name, toggle the entry, copy this, then replace this part. Okay, so that would become an MNT point with test 1. Okay, so I can actually do this if you like. And it will perform 2 things. One to the demo drive, test 1, and one to the other hard drive. Okay, let me wipe these drives. Or at least that one, not this one. All right, so it doesn't have a test 1 or 2 in here. However, let me do this a little differently. So you can see this happening. I think it was this one. All right, so first of all, it created a test 2 on this drive, and it created test 1 on this drive. There's a difference on the script file though. One has a mount point and the other one is a non-mounted. However, the reason they perform both okay because I already had them mounted already. Keep in mind, this is a manually mounted drive. This is an auto-mounted drive. So this is the difference between those 2 points. You can see there's a large difference in the names. Okay, I can also add the dash deletes on the end. Okay, I'll just leave the 1. It doesn't really matter. And I will go back to the demo drive and erase this one. Because I'm going to actually address the second question that this person had by using this script file. So we're dealing with running 2 folders. So this one automatically copied Bob's documents in here without a subfolder. And this will also just say pictures. So I'm going to wipe these again one more time. So the other complaint that he had, this person had, was it was making extra folders. All right, so if you wanting to think about it this way, this is very common. People do this all the time. This will still work, except it just will not create an extra folder in test 1 or pictures. Okay, so it will automatically sync the pictures into test 2 and not create a subfolder. Or will it? Okay, well, I'm going to give you this example right now. I'm going to run this script, and we're going to deal with test 1. It has a subfolder now. That's the complaint that he was complaining about. And then his documents are here, which is fine in most cases. But he didn't want that. This will say pictures on it. And then pictures are in here. What he wanted was the folder name without the extra subfolder. Well, if that's the case, then you want to use this kind of command. It's very simple. Okay. All you do is add the extra / on both of those. And you make sure there's at least one space in here, because rsync needs to discern the source and this is the destination. If you don't have a space in here, it doesn't know how to do that. All right, now I'm going to save that. Now it has an extra / on both those folders. So now when I sync this up, I already deleted these. And now it doesn't create an extra subfolder. Test 2 will just have pictures and no other subfolder that has the name pictures. All right, let's get back on topic regarding the automation part. This one here. All right, now that we verified that this drive is auto-mounted, we know we can copy this also to edit our script files. So that's another tip there for you. So let's talk about this part. All right, so again, for you folks that have never dealt with this, this is very similar to what cron jobs on a server does. I'm going to delete that. It's very similar is what I'm getting at. All right, so it's plus command. And since the name of this drive is B drive, we'll put that in the description. So B drive backup. It's just a name. Comments are optional. Since I pretty well described the name, I don't think I need a description on this. You could put in rsync backup if you like, or something like that. But we need to find the file. So in this case, it's called B drive. The script file does not have an extension, and the script file does not have spaces either. That's another problem sometimes. All right, so we're going to browse. And in this case, it's Bob's documents. I think I stuck it in here. There it is. All right, so I have a path now under the command line path, and you just do that with browse. Again, comments are optional. Do you want to delay or not? I'll just put in 5 seconds. All right, so what's going to happen is in 5 seconds after you're logged in, it's going to perform that command in whatever that script file says. The beauty of putting this in here, you can edit the script file later. You don't have to edit this at all. If you don't want it to perform during login, then you turn that off. You can decide if you want it later also to turn it back on. 5-second delay, it's going to do a quiet backup. In other words, you can turn off your computer, turn it back on, log in, and open up your web browser and start doing your thing. And then quietly, it's going to make backup. It's going to perform a backup quietly. It won't post anything to the screen. If you want to test this out, wipe your internal drive out. You can either log out and log back in, or you can do a full shutdown and restart. Make sure that's on though. Make sure your script file is written correctly, and you make sure that it's linked to that script file. You can always perform this manually also. I'm going to do that now. All right. So as long as the drive is auto-mounted during the login process, unlike this one, it should be able to process this script file. That is the key to getting this to work correctly. You can always write also script files like this one, which is done with non-auto mounted drives. And you can place them in here also, which I suspect more likely could have also happened with this person. I didn't get that many details on this problem. But if this is the case and that was in here, that would also fail during login. But it will perform when you do this, providing you mounted the drive first. In this case, I'm trying to pull that down. It is going to be dealing with demo. Well, that's this drive. So if demo is not mounted like this, this will fail. As soon as you do that, it'll work. But it doesn't do that automatically with this drive when I log out. When I log out of the system with this drive, it doesn't auto mount, unlike this one. That's why it's important to use auto-mounted drives when you're doing fully automated backups, at least in this scenario. The beauty of doing this also is that. And then the second thing is, if you noticed how I wrote these script files, we're dealing with this one, is it has the dash deletes on the end. Now what magic does this do? The magic of that little command there, what it does is it makes sure that the user, in this case Bob, that when he creates and deletes and runs that script or runs it manually, it'll sync that up to the backup drive. So that will be in sync here. If you'd like to see a demo of this, I will do that. I will leave this one up. And then we will deal with Bob's documents for a second. And I will resize this out a little bit. Okay, so they're currently identical, right? The icons may be slightly different because the boxes are slightly different. But it's the same amount of files currently. 13 items, 13 items. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add some extra text to this one. I'll type in test new on there. Okay, and save that. So there's a timestamp that's been altered. Now this file here is still the same. So the other thing I'm going to do is create a folder. Let's call it a bunch of 8s. And we're going to delete A. So Bob made lots of changes to his system. Now Bob logs out and logs back in, it will perform a sync up. Or if Bob shuts down the computer and turns it back on and logs in, it will still perform that because this is turned on. Bob can also choose before he shuts his computer down to do this manually if he's being paranoid, which is run now. And that simulates the same process. So I still have an identical match in here, right? You remember what I did with B? Let's open up B in here. I have test new now. And rsync knows that I changed that file based on the timestamps or the file's attributes. That's how it knows the difference. And it knows what's already in here, so it doesn't waste any time to resync stuff that it already did. Like that icon folder I didn't change. So it says, I don't need that. The LFS folder, I don't need that. Mouse pointers, I don't need that. And you get the idea. I'm missing a folder. I'm going to sync that one over. B was changed, so I'll put in some new text in there because that's what I did over here. So if I create another file called C, and I either log in or log out, it will perform this because it's on. Or if I'm paranoid and I want that file to be done just before I turn the computer off, I do that, and there it is. So you have lots of options when you create stuff like this. The file's already been created, so what's to keep me from adding more lines? Nothing. I can add as many rsync lines as I want, and keep in mind you can also highlight this and you can copy this and paste that I just skipped a line just so you can see it. And you can change this part here. And then this part here so you don't have to retype everything. Okay? I'm not going to save that. But you can put as many rsync lines as you want. Or you can delete those. I'm going to do close without saving. You can see how small this is. And whenever you do, once you get everything functional, you copy that thing and you make yourself a backup folder. These are very tiny. And you back this up even to your backup drive. Keep a copy of your script file once it's functional. You can also do this with script files, copy and paste. And then you can rename that and alter all kinds of stuff in here for different drives. This is what I do constantly. I'll create a script, I'll copy it, edit it, save it as a new name. Hopefully you found some of this tips useful for troubleshooting. Thank you for watching.